In this episode, we're joined by two inhabitants of Glastonapalooza, a planet that's one large music festival.
Arko Mux is the chief marketing officer for the planet, and Klaxon Gazondaberg is his drug-addled roadie.
So roll up your towel into a pillow, lean back, and
Prepare to learn about Moshism and the teachings of Bon Jovi's Christ.
Shut up and sit down.
welcome back to Hitchhikers and Appetizers. Coming to you from booth 42 at Millyways, I am your host, or one of your hosts, I should say, Trellis Gardeen. And with me, as always, is my sidekick, my companion, the man who's never full. Unlike the ravenous bug bladder beast, if you look at him, he does see you and may try to eat you if he's hungry enough. Horatio Zinn.
I was wondering when you were going to get to me. I was listening and I was thinking, this individual you're talking about sounds very familiar to me. And then it's me. I went back and I took in and I heard my name again and I realized it was me. What a wonderful introduction, Trellis Gardeen.
I'm glad you're able to hear me through all the chewing.
Yes.
I know that's not one of the things you do quietly.
No.
But you do it with a lot of grace, I will say.
Sorry, I realized I still had a little bit of a popper there in the side cheek of my mouth, and I had to dispose of it before we began.
I thank you.
There we go, it's swallowed.
And the listeners thank you.
You're welcome. I try to do this for you. I do this for you, listeners. All for you.
But you know what? We have some guests for the listeners today.
Oh, I noticed there are two more individuals in the booth with us. I noticed that.
And so, without further ado, why don't you guys introduce yourselves to us?
Yes. One of you go first.
And where are you from? Tell us about yourselves.
Sorry, I think they're talking to us, Arko.
Oh, yes, of course. Hi, hello. My name is Arko Mux the Fifth, and I come from Glastonapalooza. It is a planet that is just one huge music festival.
Oh, my.
Oh, nice.
I'm Klaxon Gazondaberg. Yeah, resident of Glastonapalooza. It's great, wonderful place.
Sounds lovely. Sounds wonderful.
You misspoke as president. Is that something you're hoping to be? Is there a president of Glastonapalooza?
There is no organized government that we know of, and I think I only misspoke because my brain and mouth are no longer entirely connected, which I can only apologize for.
No, yes, I would brag about that. That's something to brag about. In a way.
Yeah.
So no hierarchy, a planet that's all music festival. So I guess you are structured around Moshism.
Oh, absolutely, yes. There's people all over this place. It's absolutely full. There's mud everywhere. In fact, dirt everywhere. Just people taking all sorts of drugs, drink, anything you can name. There's people taking it in the fields. And of course there's some music and bands on the side, but it's mainly about the mosh experience.
It's funny you mentioned Moshism because that's a huge part of Glastonapalooza. But originally, I mean, I don't know if you even believe this, Arko, but originally one of the stories goes that Glastonapalooza was set up as like a religion. It was a religious base started by the great Bon Jovi's Christ. And he decided that we needed this one place where people could come and they could experiment and they could grow their places. And there's no countries, yeah? There's no borders, well, there are borders. There are borders between genres, obviously, and some people, back me up on this, man, they will not cross those borders, will they?
Oh, no, once you're in a genre, you're in it for life.
Oh, my. You're stuck in the genre. So, are you born into a genre?
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of dirty happenings going on in the field, so of course people are getting pregnant and people are giving birth, in fact, in the mosh pits.
That sounds absolutely disgusting.
Dirty Happenings in the Field is a lovely name for a romance novel on your planet.
Well, I think that's a field that we've not really had much of success in, is it? I think that's a good idea. Right. I'm going to write that down. I'll remember it.
You'll remember that fine. I know. I can see by the unfocused look in your eye that you will remember that.
I mean, I've forgotten it.
I have too. I don't know what were we talking about.
There was a point, I'm sure, but
Something about a mosh pit.
Dirty happenings. That's what we were talking about.
yes.
Dirty happenings in the field.
We don't encourage it.
Why not?
Well, Arko, tell the truth, mate. Come on, you don't encourage it.
Okay. Look. I'm trying to seem presentable and make the festival seem cleaner than it is, but it's rough. It is inhumane out there.
Arko is the presentable face of Glastonapalooza.
Oh.
I'm the chief marketing officer of the festival, so I am constantly trying to make it seem a wonderful utopia of various genres and mosh pits.
I do have to say, it's much more pleasant looking than you are, Klaxon. I don't mean to offend you, but he has a much better face.
Well, he doesn't use his face nearly as much as I use mine, so that's fine.
What are you using your face for?
Yes, I was going to ask.
Oh well, the primary use, of course, is the billboards outside of the festival to entice space travelers to come in and buy a ticket.
I think I've seen some of those.
Oh yeah, it was a huge marketing campaign. Yes.
Big face billboards.
But only your face. It's like this giant fathead face on the side of the planet.
Well, you see, my body is not quite as attractive as my face. As you can see, it's...
Yes, it's disgusting.
I've tried to forget it's there, honestly. So that is why I use my face for so much.
You should. It's a wonderful face. Trellis, you should get a better face like
Well,
this.
they do say opposites attract. If that's the case, if that is truly the case, your body and your face could not be more opposite.
Oh, no. There are people who I meet...
And I mean that in the best way, because it's resulted in a beautiful face.
But Klaxon, your face is terrible, but your body is magnificent.
Is it just a constant playing of music, or do you take a break?
You've been to a music festival, I imagine, okay?
Yes, many times. We've covered some as correspondents.
I've seen Disaster Area.
Yeah. They've played.
Amazing acoustics.
From a great distance, because if you're too close, then I can tell you have not seen Disaster Area close up because your head is not it's not in many pieces.
Well, we actually hosted. This was the first off-world gig that we hosted. They played on one of our 11 moons. And we watched the gig from the planet. Now, the funny thing is, halfway through their sound check, the moon exploded, and obviously they're wearing those protective suits that they all wear because I think this happens a lot. I think they fall into craters and fault lines quite.
Occupational hazard with that kind
so
of
they're well used to it, but it was a spectacle to say the least. Yes.
It truly was. Yeah, that was hard to spin, and after the that whole PR crisis of the moon exploding, it was that was a difficult week.
Like you said, it was just the sound check.
Yeah.
Well, it's worth it. It's worth it for their music because I think destruction in the name of art is one of the highest calling.
It's almost like the sound check is the actual show, and the show is the encore.
I mean, at this point, they have destroyed so much stuff with their sound checks. They might as well just make that the show itself. Just start straight away.
Yes. And also, so many people have died listening to them that I'm sure many people died thinking that was the entire show.
And probably died with smiles on their faces.
I would hope so, because their music is...
It's a good way to go.
It is wonderful.
Although I have seen people die in that situation, and it does kind of look like a smile, but I think it's just the sheer force pushing all the skin on your head backwards.
Ooh, that inspires me.
Oh, no.
Klaxon, because I'm thinking...
This is dangerous.
No, not dangerous. I think this would be a possible revolutionary way to perform facelifts.
I knew you'd find an angle. Trellis found an angle.
Uh-huh.
So your idea is to get Disaster Area to play near a client, have them destroy whatever it is they're playing on.
Bring many clients.
In one
Oh
go.
yeah. Why not do it in mass?
Yeah,
Why limit it to just one person? There's a lot of saggy people in the universe who need their skin tightened, and they could do it all at once.
Mass plastic surgery.
Yes.
I mean, would you,
No one has ever thought of that before until I just did right now.
would you need to be stood at a particular angle for the result
Yes.
you wanted to achieve, or else you might end up with
Yes.
your lips in your ear or something?
Yeah. Positioning is extremely important. Extremely important. If you're turned sideways, your ear's going to be where your mouth is.
That's a different kind of smile altogether.
If your back goes to them, your face and your eyes and your nose could be in your lap.
Or your hair would just be over your entire face.
Now, if that's the look that you wanted, if that's the look you were ultimately wanting,
Perhaps you're balding.
Yes.
That hair from the back of your head is now on the front.
so again, positioning is very important.
But you would have to make sure the lower body was behind a shield, just like what they do with an X-ray.
Also, you want to make sure that it's done in such a way that it won't just knock the head completely off and leave the body there.
Ideally.
Distance is probably also important.
That's what waivers are for. Arko, I'm sure you're probably well versed in that, right? Do you guys have waivers for the people coming to the planets?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, people have to sign NDAs so as not to reveal which bands are playing.
Oh, very good, very good.
That's a non-disaster area NDA.
Yes, a lot of bands do secret shows as well at the gigs.
Oh my.
People have to sign NDAs as to not post on their, their media feeds.
Do you post security to keep them out of those shows, or do you just keep it so secret that they wouldn't be able to find it in the first place?
So instead of bounces, we have these mazes at the start. And so you have to just find your way through, and if you're lost, you can't get in.
You miss it.
Yes, and it means we don't have to pay bounces.
Oh, that's very good. Do you have to pay the mazes?
Their rate is a lot lower than bounces.
They're generally populated by some kind of carnivorous plant. So anybody left, trapped in a corner or desperately running around in circles, that eventually, they'll sit down.
That's very good. Also, that way you're sort of paying your maze bouncers.
So the prey is their payment, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, three square meals a day if they're lucky.
Oh, very good. That's
Of unlucky festival goers.
Now you mentioned that there are different areas with the different music genres. Are those kind of considered the countries of your planet? I mean, is there a hard, fast border between them? No one can cross into the other ones?
There have been hard and fast borders, but over time they've kind of changed and dissipated into, we'd call them subgenres, we'd call them mashups, that sort of thing. Yeah, so
There are occasionally rebel groups that break the borders and create new subgenres, and they have to set up stages and
oh my.
find bands that can play that specific genre.
Are the rebels? Is that a big problem?
I've never come across it as a big problem, to be honest. I mean, it's I think one of the problems outsiders have with looking at a problem like Glastonapalooza is that there isn't any sense of another type of normalcy. Would you agree with that, Arko? A music festival planet. We're not talking about a big music festival. It is the entire planet. There's no escaping it. There's no.
Oh, wherever you go, you are hearing music.
You can't escape it. You can't escape
So
it.
any.
Not at all.
You,
no.
you can't escape. And some people do try. They run. Oh, do they run? They don't stop, and they perish.
And then when they're running, and they're just running from one genre to another.
Oh yeah. But once you're in, I mean,
Exactly. And everyone just points, and they go, "There's another one, Keith." That sort of thing. Yeah, it's
it is not a pretty sight.
no.
No. I want to know, naturally, as you see the array of appetizers and things before us, and of course the array of crumbs and things in my beard, I am curious about concessions on your planet.
Well, I mean, all the food is exclusively sold from stalls that are placed around the genre borders, and it doesn't matter what sort of food it is absolutely caked in grease. Just the greasiest food you can imagine. It might be a salad or some fruit, but it will be caked in grease.
Well, that's the thing. I think one of the things I haven't looked into this. Perhaps Arko, perhaps you know the science behind this because you've read books, haven't you?
I have read several books.
Or album covers, perhaps?
Red T-shirts, perhaps.
Merchandise, yes.
I heard that the DNA of Glastonapaloozans has mutated in such a way due to massive and stopping drug use, that it's changed to no longer require things like sustenance and water, that sort of thing. And I certainly feel that I live in such a way, but...
Well, I do subscribe to that theory. I mean, I myself have to abstain as the chief marketing officer of the festival. I, of course, have to say sober the whole time to do my job.
What is your title again?
Chief Marketing Officer of Glastonapalooza.
Very good. I just want to make sure to write that on my napkin. Please continue.
He's the CMO!
CMO, that's me. It's on all the billboards.
Is that also your band?
Yes, I did start a band back in the day. My problem with the band was I was more obsessed with the marketing than the music. So the music really did suffer. But our album covers and our everything around the band was brilliant.
Oh.
But the music itself, terrible.
You had a top 700 hit though with Public Relations, Yes Please. That was a chant for a while, wasn't it?
That was our one.
That sounds lovely. That sounds like, was that a dance hit? That sounds like a dance song.
Or more of a punk or dance, or the combination of both. Prance.
Exactly. People call us the pioneers of prance.
They do call you that.
Oh my, it's good to know where it came from.
But I mean, I did market the hell out of that genre.
Yes, did you market it to death? Did you market it into the
Too
ground?
much? Is it possible to market too much?
Sadly, it is possible to market too much, to the point where people are, too exposed to whatever you're marketing. There have been people who have seen my face and vomited straight away purely from overexposure of the billboard.
Oh, I understand that.
They're flying around the galaxy seeing me everywhere, and they don't like it.
I actually have to say I'm starting to feel a bit nauseous with your continued presence. No insult, no offense intended there, of course.
It's only because you're so good looking. It's like if you eat too much sugar, eventually your body wants to reject it.
That's exactly what it is. Too much of anything is a bad thing, especially my face.
Just too damn good look. You're too damn good looking for my digestive system, I think.
One band I know you've never had there is Horatio's former band, Purity.
Yes.
Purity.
With the worst band in the history of the universe. They actually even won.
We won the battle of the worst bands.
Yes.
Oh wow.
And we quit after that. We figured we were going out on top or bottom, depending on how you look at it.
I feel like we could have a subgenre available if you're willing to reform and play a.
Yeah, so I'm perfectly willing to do that because I haven't seen the.
This would be like letting a cancer onto your planet. That's what I think. Are you saying you want to? Most people don't want to make it an explicit effort to bring cancer to themselves.
Well, again, I mean, this is an entire planet of musical genres, subgenres, experiments, and indeed, I mean, musical cancer. It's had its heyday for sure. I mean,
it has its cult following.
People generally don't relish it, but there's a big tourism industry around exactly that. People go there. I want to go out in the biggest, wrongest way.
Horatio, would you happen even to know where to get a hold of a harmonophone these days?
I could find out.
And another 11 people to play it with you.
That is the problem. I could find. I've got a harmonophone.
Where?
I have in my bag. It's in pieces. But finding other players, that is the difficult part, because one of the things is you have to spend so much time together in learning to coordinate and play that you just get sick of each other.
I think the only legal way to carry a harmonophone is in pieces.
Yes.
Isn't it? I don't think. I thought I'd read that.
It's too dangerous otherwise.
Well, yeah. If it's not played correctly, it sounds so bad. People either get sick and die. And I think that was probably the biggest problem with Purity is that none of you were musically trained.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
No talented.
Or talent. Yeah, you didn't even have talent. To learn how to play it. It was really doomed from the start. But if you think Glastonapalooza wants to resurrect it like a zombie,
well, from a marketing perspective, the comeback of the worst band in the universe.
People do like nostalgia.
I think people would want to see oh, how bad could it be? Is it really that bad?
Yeah.
Even when facts are staring them in the face, people will just ignore the reality. So you just have to let nature take its course. Kind of like Klaxon, like you mentioned, with the drug use and your evolution.
Yeah. Although I've been experimenting with a new drug recently. There's one that's hit Glastonapalooza, which is people have been so high and so low for so long that they've no idea which way they're going. Do you know? So this new, it's a class of drug really. There's a lot of drugs within the class, but it's a midulant. It's not a stimulant. It's not a depressant. It's a midulant. It makes you supposedly feel normal.
Oh, who wants to feel normal? Why, is there a desire for that?
Well, when you've been so abnormal for so long, it just becomes a new experience. So yeah, it's pretty popular at the moment.
Fascinating.
I mean, I've started taking it regularly just to maintain my composure for the brand.
Ah, very good. Very responsible of you.
Is that what you've been? Arko. I did wonder. I knew you had a vice. You're a midulant head.
I'm a midi, loud and proud midi. I stay normal.
So that's what normal looks like, yeah.
That's a heavy trip, my friend.
I mean, yes, it is absolutely average.
How much does it cost to come join in on the fun?
It depends, really. It depends how long you want to stay and what genre you want to stay in. Because, as we've established, once you're in one, that's it.
You can't go to another one.
You can't move around. No. You'd have to exit and re-enter through a different maze to get to the next genre.
Yes.
If you're lucky, you would get in. One of the major currencies around our planet is drugs. So if you are able to bring any of your own and supply anybody with drugs, even something we haven't seen before, although that would be rare.
Klaxon, what are you doing? Are you smoking at the table right now?
I thought I had a minute.
I
What
told
are
you
you
not to bring
smoking?
that.
Did you bring enough for everyone? That's the first question.
There's smoke coming out of your pores.
I didn't think you'd mind.
Well, no, not really, but
Sorry, you can smoke in Millyways, right?
this is the smoking section, yes. And I didn't ask this before, but Arko, is Klaxon? Do you two work together on the marketing at all? What is the connection?
Well, I don't like to say we work together. I suppose he works under me. He is more of a roadie character. He helps me transport things around and does the menial jobs, while I work on the brand.
Yeah. Who has the most fun, do you think?
Well, me, I'm on Midulance, so I'm having a blast.
Very well done.
The clear skin, the even pulse rate, the clear eyes.
I am doing lovely.
So you probably don't find anything funny because you're just so sober like that.
I just find everything fine. Everything is okay.
So every other sentence, it's fine.
It's fine.
Where should we put this massive toilet? Is here all right? Yes, fine.
It's fine. It is.
Am I ever sensing some conflict between you?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
But is it fine? Is it fine?
Horatio, why are you trying to pick at the scab?
I just wanted them because I see them as almost a reflection of us, and I just wanted to bring out the inner conflict.
Are you implying there's conflict between us?
I'm saying. I generally assume that that's part of the magic, part of the spark between us, is the kind of friendly antagonism.
We did have an argument once. We did fall out a few cycles ago. I don't know if you remember this, Arko, but there was an argument about where a particular band should play. We'd booked a band, and we were talking about where they should. And it was that you've probably heard of Stu Zoo and the Huluvu crew. The super intelligent blues band. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I thought obviously they need to go into the maths tent. Yeah, the maths tent is one of the subgenres. It's because it's intelligent music, so it's learned music. And Arko was adamant. He was like, no. And Arko, come on, tell them where you wanted the Huluvu to play. Huh?
Look, I wanted them in the slow jam tent, okay? Their kind of music is, I know it's intelligent, but my god, it is slow jams. And that's why I wanted them in there. Of course, the slow jam, everyone is moving in slow motion. That's how their music makes me feel.
If there's one thing Horatio likes, it's jam.
I have jam. Jellies, too. Jellies.
And Klaxon, I am blown away by the fact that you used the word learned.
Learn it. It seems like an extra expense.
I thought that's how you pronounced it. I learned it from them. I learned it from them.
Where did they end up? What was the final genre and stage?
Well, you heard him say before, I work under him, so they went to the slow jam world.
I make the final decisions around here, so yeah, they're still playing the same song. It's that slow.
But intelligent though, it's so complex, isn't it? So...
Have any bands ever tried to sneak over into a different genre? Have you ever had anyone trying to break the reins, break the bonds?
Of expectations.
Well, yes, there was that one band. The members were split up into different genres, and that was their style, wasn't it? So, yes,
well, that was the satellite gig, wasn't it? Where we had them broadcast from different parts of the planet. So each area was getting a solo, but then they were streamed together to become a whole, which was broadcast, planet-wide. It was a very successful experiment.
I think isn't that how they make the wham bam sauce on your firecracker shrimp ratio?
Yes, they just
all
throw
those ingredients coming together in a bowl that they then toss the shrimp into. I see the parallel of all that music being streamed together, and then bowl where the people are at. They sat back and took it all in.
Yes, the wham bam sauce is made by people in beings in different parts of the kitchen, just flinging ingredients randomly at the bowl.
Did it start off as a sport?
Yes, like most things, started off as a sport or becomes a sport.
I mean, if it wasn't food, I'd be interested in trying it, but as it's food,
Has your planet ever thought about going on tour?
We did, yeah.
We did try that a little while ago, didn't we? Not great success.
You weren't able to break free of your son's gravitational force?
It wasn't, no, the logistics of it. I think we had a handle on that, didn't we, Arko? I think the main problem was going back to the advertising, which, sorry, whose department is that again? Is it?
That's me.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Arko Mux, that's me. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer.
What happened?
Well, we sent I mean, you could say this, Arko. We sent a job off-world, and I don't know if you've heard of the planet. What was it called? Skynecticus, was it?
Oh, wait. Ding, ding, ding. I'm from Skynecticus.
No way.
You're from there?
Yes.
Well, we were
Many
led
of
to
us
believe
are.
that they had a huge printing industry, and so we sent all our flyers and posters and brochures to them, and then got there and they didn't even know what printing was, and it was...
My face was nowhere.
You never know from different parts of our planet because it's so terribly organized. Yes, you probably...
You mean terribly disorganized?
That's what I meant. I meant it's organized in a terrible manner. But you probably, if you had just walked about 5 minutes away, you would have found someone who knew about printing.
Oh, well.
It's just that other being probably didn't know about printing and assumed no one else knew.
But they were in a shop that had the word printing written on the outside of it.
We thought it was safe to assume.
That was your first mistake. Do not, if you want a hot dog, for instance, don't go into a business on Skynecticus that has hot dog written on it, or even a picture of a hot dog in the window, because you will not find it there.
That is not very good branding, I have to say.
It is terrible.
So anyway, we were entirely relying on that, weren't we, Arko? And,
yeah, that was supposed to be the big premiere of the tour, but obviously...
So your planet showed up and there was absolutely no fans.
Nothing there, nobody there, no stages set up, no spaces for the festival. We had to send all the bands home with no pay.
They hadn't even put your name on the marquee or anything, had they?
Was there an opening act? Had you considered perhaps a puppet show?
Well, we've had certain other things on between bands occasionally, haven't we? Some stand-up comedy, maybe.
We did, yeah. We did have well, it was a comedian. Was it? Am I pronouncing that right?
Chameleon, yes, I believe
comedian?
so. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was his shtick anyway. That's what he said. He said, I'm a comedian. And it was like you stand up and look like a comedian, but then you're in no way funny whatsoever. And apparently that was the act.
What he did was he just told anecdotes.
That sounds a bit like my when I did stand-up comedy. It was a bit like that. Lots of cries of "You're not funny." I knew I was connecting with the audience when I had cries of "You're not funny." It's like, you hear me, you hear me.
They didn't like you, but they heard you.
And so your face is all up. You didn't happen to bring any with you, did you?
Yes, I did. I wanted to surprise you at the end, but yes, I brought two
Master,
T-shirts
I hope
for
you have
you.
an exponentially extra large shirt for me.
You're very lucky that I have just a large. Well, it might be a bit tight, but try it on.
I think he's going to be using that as a napkin.
That's going to be a bib.
dear.
That is my new favorite bib. Thank you so much.
Well, it looks good wherever it is.
That's
Highly absorbent.
Ah, very good. Trellis,
Absorbent, or if that grease is all in there, probably water. It's probably repellent. Isn't
I
it?
assume these ones are pretty new though, right?
Okay.
Arko.
Oh yes, these were printed yesterday. Yes, they've got a couple of lovely slogans on, as you can see.
Again, good decision to not put Klaxon's face on it. No offense, Klaxon, but I think that would repel people.
If I knew how to take offense, I would have taken it years ago.
Well done.
But you do know how to take drugs.
No, yeah.
Well, Horatio, what are you thinking our entry should be for today? This has been a fascinating conversation.
I would like to get a passport or something so that I could go try different genres. I look forward to passing out somewhere there.
I'm thinking Glastonapalooza, music and marketing.
Music and marketing, that's good.
Or should it be marketing and music? Arko, what do you think?
In my personal opinion, the marketing is the main element for me. So, Glastonapalooza, marketing and music.
If you asked
absolutely
him,
fine.
it would be marketing and marketing, though, wouldn't it?
In a perfect.
As you know, I will say, throw in that the only successful part of the band Purity was when we came up with the name.
It's a wonderful name, very versatile.
We should have stopped at that point and not even tried to make music.
All right, well, I'm typing that in.
Music and marketing.
Glaston.
Actually, type it in such a way that the letters float and that the music and marketing can float around.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to interleave marketing and music. The letters will be together, so it's going to actually be a riddle that they have to figure out. Huh?
Oh,
my
very
mind.
good.
Now that is a nice bit of branding.
Keeping them engaged and submit. This has been fantastic. Arko, Klaxon, thank you so much for joining us, telling us about Glastonapalooza. Klaxon, you look like you're about to fall over.
Oh, I very rarely fall over.
Thank you for joining us for Hitchhikers and Appetizers. And of course, special thanks goes to our guests, Klaxon Gazondaberg and Arko Mux. I have been Trellis Gardeen.
And I continue to be Horatio Zinn. Until next time, keep your towels clean. And if your supercomputer is taking too long to find the answer to an ultimate question, you can always fill the time by appearing on chat shows. So don't panic. Everything you heard in this episode was improvised, but not everything improvised was heard. This episode of Hitchhikers and Appetizers featured the voice talents of Mike Gorgone as Trellis Gardeen, Bran Peacock as Horatio Zinn, with Adam Lowe as Klaxon Gazondaberg, and Matt Mellor as Arko Mux. Finally, Hitchhikers and Appetizers is part of the Improv in Action Network. Check out other great improvised podcasts and projects at improvinaction.com. If you'd like to reach out to Trellis or Horatio, you can send electronic messages to them at our Galaxy address, hitchappspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can find them on Twitter with the handle hitchapps.
Shut up and sit down.
Wow.